There is a whopping 6 to 8 million cats and dogs that enter shelters every year, and 3 to 4 million have to be euthanized. According to the HumaneSociety.org, if just 20% of the people looking to get a pet would consider adopting, we could save 3 million cats and dogs from being euthanized. I have had animals my whole life, both from breeders as well as shelters, and I believe shelter animals make much better pets. By learning more about a shelter, you may become more comfortable adopting from one because you save a life. It is much more rewarding to adopt a dog from a shelter than it is to buy from another source, such as a breeder, because they overpopulate the earth with more animals than we can handle. Today I would like to speak with you about the purpose of a shelter, why it's better to adopt from a shelter than it is from a breeder, and what to consider if you want to adopt. The purpose of a shelter is to rescue animals. They take them off the streets and out of bad situations. According to the shelterpetproject.org, a lot of the times animals enter shelters because of marriage, divorce, and lose their owners, and a number of other things. But shelters, they provide vet care, they give them vaccinations and spay and neuter them, and they also try to find them forever homes. They will do a check on the person, make sure they're good, and then may be able to take them home if they feel out of form. And every animal deserves a forever home. They don't deserve to go back to a shelter just because they dig holes or they chew up something. It's something that they can learn not to do. So far, I've talked to you about why shelters are great at what they do, what their purpose is. Now I'd like to speak with you about why adopting from a shelter is much better than buying from another source. Breeders overpopulate the earth with more animals than there can be found good homes for. Their main concern is to make money and to make sure that all their animals get bought out. Most of the time they don't make sure that they don't go to a forever home. A lot of the times they just make sure that their money's in their pocket. Another place is puppy mills. Puppy mills are disgusting places. They're illegal, and a lot of times they'll stack cages on top of each other, and they have holes in the bottom, and the dogs use the restroom, and it just falls down on all the other dogs, and they don't even pay any attention to them. They won't feed them unless they have to because they're about to die. And once they can no longer have animals, once the animal can no longer have litters, then they kill them immediately, and so they're just it's another sad thing, but their main concern is money, not the well-being of the animal. Pet stores a lot of times will have unhealthy pets, and some of the times they even have puppies and dogs that come from puppy mills, so you may be supporting a puppy mill and not even realize it. So far we've looked at the purpose of a shelter and why adopting is much better than buying from another source. Now I'd like to talk to you about what to consider if you want to adopt. You need to consider if you're suited for a pet, such as do you have enough money. Although it is much cheaper to buy from a shelter than it is to buy from a breeder, you need to consider later on in life that you'll have food and vet bills. Even vet bills, most animals don't make it through life without having to take at least one trip to the vet, and you can pick up rat poison and things like that that you know are bad for them, but you just never know. Like my dog, she bit a fishing lure, and you know it's bad, but they don't, and so you just never know, and you always have to be prepared and expect the unexpected. Also, are the children old enough? Because especially if you get a puppy, they scratch them and bite them, and they're just playing. The kids don't understand, and they get scared. Also, who will be the animal's primary caretaker? Because a lot of times the kids go to school, the parents go to work, and no one's there to look after the dog and make sure that they spend enough time with them. So you need to consider that as well. Also, what's included if you do adopt, vaccinations and spaying and neutering, depending on the shelter, they may include a crate, and so you can check into that. And also, if you know you're ready to adopt, like for sure, then you can check out petfinder.com and readlarrypowell.org. They're great sites. I got my dog from petfinder.com. They have animals from everywhere, just different shelters on there. Also, if you don't really think you want to adopt, but you still want to help out, you can go to the animalrescuesite.com. They have things you can buy, such as if you buy like a shirt for $20, they donate 28 bowls of food, so it's a really great site. You can call a PetSmart near you and figure out if there's shelters there, when they're going to be there, and you can meet the animals in person. And today I spoke with you what a shelter does, why adopting is much better than buying from another source, and what to consider if you want to adopt. I hope that today you learned the benefits of adopting from a shelter, and that animals, all they want is love, and if you love them back, then you have a companion for life. I would like to show you my shelter dog. This is Annie. I adopted her 5 years ago from a shelter, and this quote reminds me a lot of her as well as other shelter dogs. It says, Shelter dogs aren't broken. They simply experience more life. If they were humans, we would call them mice. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. They once dealt with a bad hand and responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.